Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Authors and Innovators Conversations. I am Larry Gennari from the boutique corporate finance M&A law firm of Gennari, Aronson. I'm looking out at beautiful Route 128 and busy traffic on a beautiful day. My co-pilot, as always, Doug Banks, executive editor at the BBJ. Doug, welcome. And today, Doug and I talk with a true innovator. Alissa Peterson is the co-founder and executive director at SeaAhead, a very unique, I would say, both angel and venture, soon to be venture fund that focuses on blue tech. Alissa, welcome. We're so delighted you're here. Tell us a bit about you. You have an engineering background. You're from Brooklyn, if I remember correctly, and you're thinking about how did you get involved in SeaAhead, and tell us a bit about Blue.
Great. Well, first, thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor to be invited. And so I grew up in Brooklyn, and I went to engineering school. I was a civil and then a mechanical engineer, and I started out my career on a construction site. So I worked as a site engineer for Turner Construction, which was my first job out of college, which was illuminating to be put into as a site engineer and at 22, which was crazy, but it was a lot of fun. And then I decided to go back to grad school because I actually saw all of the incredible amounts of garbage and trash are created in the process of constructing anything new, and it really bothered me to see, how much waste was created through construction. And so I wanted to go back to school to work in sustainability. And so I went back to MIT, and after MIT, I ended up working with McKinsey in their global clean tech and sustainability practice. And I worked there for a number of years, sort of all over the world, in the US and in Europe, and then wanted from there to go back into the startup side of things. And so that's where I started working with a company called Primus Power, and they did clean tech. So this is a clean tech company. They do grid scale energy storage. And then from there, went to work with a company called NanoSteel, which does work on lightweighting vehicles. And then as I was looking, a few years after that, started looking for something new to do, and was really looking at how I could be applying my skills across a number of different companies and supporting this ecosystem of innovators that are trying to build new things, and got together with my co-founders around this concept of oceans, which is what brought us to founding SeaAhead, which is 5 years old actually today.
Wow, congratulations.
Happy
birthday.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Birthday,
So it's very exciting.
Wow. And so tell us a bit about the focus of SeaAhead for folks who are used to hearing from both authors and innovators. And your background is certainly one around the E and the S and the ESG these days. So tell us a bit about SeaAhead, what the focus is, and what you're hoping to encounter in the next year.
Yeah.
So
SeaAhead is a venture studio platform. Our goal and our mission is to support venture innovation for the ocean. So we're a public benefit corporation, and we have a mission of environmental impact in addition to our fiduciary responsibility to our shareholders. And so that combination is really important to us. We believe that in order to have impact, you have to have scale. And so we don't believe there is a trade-off to be made, actually. And so our work comprises a number of different activities, and we frame them as catalyze, build, and invest. And so with catalyze, the work that we do is around creating ecosystems of innovators and the support infrastructure that they need to be successful. So that's the pools of mentors and experts that we pull together. It's the work that we do in terms of networking them, in the events that we hold, the corporate partners that we bring together with the startups that are part of that community. And then we have the build side of what we do. And so this is best described in our Blue Swell program. And so our Blue Swell incubator is a company building effort. We bring in 6 to 8 companies per year. We've just graduated our third cohort in February. And we're open for applications right now for cohort 4, which will start in September. And already have a great group of folks that are applying for that. So that's really exciting. And then on the invest side, we have the work that we're doing, which started with the Blue Angels. So that's an investor syndicate that we have, and they've invested in 22 companies to date. Yeah, so they've been very busy. And then we are building a pool of capital that'll be, SeaAhead Ventures. And so that those assets under management within SeaAhead will allow us then to do more of what we've already been doing and be able to put more capital to work in the space.
Exciting. Doug, there's a story here, maybe a front page story, don't you think?
I definitely think there's a story here. There's lots of news that sounds like you guys are at the forefront of lots of interesting things. I'm really curious. You must be able to see so many interesting innovations. Is there any, whether offshore wind, wave energy, can you give us an example of maybe one or two of the innovations that you've seen that are particularly exciting?
Yeah, so we have some great companies coming through. We've got an example from the angel investor group. So we invested in a company called Matrix earlier at the end of last year, and they're a company that's using concrete 3D printers in order to build in coastal asset protection. And so those concrete 3D printers make these elaborate structures which create space. It's a nature-based solution, so it's a way to create space for biodiversity and sedimentation and regrowth to happen, while you're also protecting the assets that are on the shoreline. So whether that's a port or some other piece of infrastructure. And so we're excited about it because it not only is less expensive for the asset owner to protect their resources, but it creates a biodiversity play and a carbon play as well while we're at it. So that's an example of a company that we've invested in. And then we've got companies that come through Blue Swell. One of the, a high performer coming out of Blue Swell is a company called H2OK Innovations. They are they're a Boston company, and they are doing work to understand what's happening in the wastewater that's inside of industrial facilities. And so the industrial facility can use less chemicals, can have better control over their processes because they understand in a deeper way exactly what's happening in their wastewater treatment system.
That's terrific, Alyssa. What kind of companies do you want to hear from? So folks who might be listening to us, who are innovators, entrepreneurs, who do you want to hear from, and talk a little bit about the website and how they can get in touch?
Sure. So we have opportunities for lots of different portions of the community to get involved in what we're doing in oceans. So if you are an innovator and you've got an idea or a company that's pre-Series A, then there are a variety of ways that we can work with you. If you could apply to our Blue Swell Incubator program, which is open now for applications. So it's a great time to get to know us there. That is on our website. You can find the links there. If you are someone who's interested in giving back and mentoring and working with the ocean innovation community, we have a way for you to do that, which is our expert pool. And we love to add people to the pool to work with the companies. And if you are an investor, we would love to talk to you about what we're doing in oceans and have you come and take part in either the angel activities or the fund. And so would love to talk to folks about that. And in general, would love to see corporations and others who are interested in accessing an innovation in the space to get to know some of the startups that are part of our community. And so we have links for all of those ways to get to know us on our website, and the info at SeaAhead always works as well.
That is outstanding. And Alyssa, what would you tell some of the students, business students and otherwise, who might be listening to this, who might say to themselves, I'm really interested in ESG, if you will. How do I get involved in Blue Tech?
Well, that's very exciting. So one of our core theses is that for this space to grow and be successful, we're going to need all kinds of talents in the space. This is not only about marine biologists and oceanographers, right? We need computer scientists, and we need business school graduates, and we need marketers, and et cetera, right? Like, we need all the different kinds of skill sets in this space. And so we're really excited to bring in entrepreneurial talent from areas, tech and biotech, clean tech, et cetera, into oceans. And so we'd love to get to know you. So please come to events that we host. We host out of our location at CIC in Cambridge. So we have many opportunities to get to know the startups and to get to know the problem space in oceans, because we need folks like this to apply their skills to solve the challenges we all face.
Excellent. I know you're going to hear from other folks who want to learn more. But Doug and I want to learn more about what you're reading. What are you reading?
So, let's see. A book that I've read recently that I thought was really fascinating, and in this case happens to be very on brand also, is New York 2140, which is by Kim Stanley Robinson. And I grew up in New York, and so this book is about what New York looks like. It's a novel, and it takes place in New York post sea level rise. And so half of New York is underwater and the other half is not. And then there's the coastal zone, basically, where the water rushes in and out every day. And it is just fascinating. I found it really compelling to think about it in a non-apocalyptic way. Right? And so just to think about what it would be really like to live in that environment.
So it's just pre-water world, but post where we are today.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then on the other hand, I have a 7-year-old, so I read a lot of, Captain Underpants.
Excellent. Also on Doug's bookshelf behind him. I know that.
As one does, right? You need a little dog man in your life, so...
Doug, tell me about what you're reading this time.
Oh, I'm still on a history kick. So I'm reading a book called Code Girls, The Untold Story of the American Women Code Breakers Who Helped Win World War II, by Liza Mundy. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. It's a fantastic book about the women during World War II who helped not only crack these Axis codes. Of course, Benedict Cumberbatch had a movie about the Enigma in Germany, but these are the women who were solving doing the cryptanalysis for the Japanese codes as well. And just fascinating, because there were no men to do it, women were able to take over these jobs. There was no expectations on them because of the sexism of the day, and so they were able to really have carte blanche. And it was just, and they knew at the end of the war there was going to be no jobs for them because of the way society was. So they were all in, and they just, and a number of the women did end up going on to be mathematicians and engineers and other jobs. Absolutely fascinating book. I highly recommend it. Code Girls.
If only we had an event where we could talk about these.
Exactly.
So I've got a couple. I'm thinking about ESG. I'm thinking about the economy. So I just finished 2 books. The first was Plunder, Brendan Ballou. Brendan's a former DOJ prosecutor who now examines in this book how private equity has reshaped industries, healthcare, finance, retail. It's similar to Gretchen Morganson's book, These Are the Plunderers, but you'll get the sense that these are folks, at least the ones profiled, who really have been implemented short-term strategies that don't always benefit shareholders. And of course, the other that I finished that I've really, really enjoyed, Harvard Business School professor Jeffrey Jones, who's a business historian, has written a fascinating in-depth book called Deeply Responsible, A Global History of Values-Driven Leadership. And it's Deeply Responsible Business includes these in-depth profiles of business leaders and their companies. And it covers everything from the Gilded Age to impact investing to B Corps. And it truly does have a global perspective. So this was just a terrific book, and I'm hoping we can have one or both of these authors on one day soon. But for now, Alissa Peterson, thank you so much. SeaAhead, and the website is?
It is SeaAhead.com.
Terrific. It is just a pleasure to have such a catalyst, convener, collaborator. Alissa Peterson, thank you for joining us, and I hope folks will check out SeaAhead. See you next time.